regarding the FBI, are there just a few bad apples and bad actors, or is the FBI rotten to the core at this point? And what would you say?
I'm back to the disconnect between the rank and file and the management class, and the fact that those guys have to go back and forth to D.C. all the time, and their priorities are within for their self-promotion and not for the good of the American people. They're not about the casework. I think there are people that do genuinely good work in the FBI. I think that work can be done by other people just as effectively. So if you asked me, you made me king for a day, the FBI wouldn't exist anymore. And I'm not a defund the police guy. I think that you can empower local law enforcement in a way that you deputize locals and give them federal authority. And there's a whole thing we can get into with that. But I think as far as from the leadership standpoint, you can't just take out Christopher Wray and expect it all to get better. Now, Christopher Wray needs to go, and just quick math on him. $9 million salary the year before he became the FBI director. Gave that up to become the FBI director for 10 years. So he essentially gave $90 million up to become the FBI director.
Is that what the tenure is for 10 years?
It's a 10-year.
Because I'm wondering why Biden didn't fire him, because Trump hired him in 17.
Good question.
Right. So you would think that if Trump appointed him.
Yeah. He's acceptable. And I think that he sacrificed $90 million for the cause. And that's why he got into an interview. He was with an interview with Brett Baer, and he was asked very directly, what about the FBI's negative image? And he said, well, we have a record number of applicants, so it's all good. And guy, it's a down economy and inflation's through the roof, and you're bragging about your number of applicants for a job where people can make six figures to do. If they were a cop, they'd be getting paid a third of that.
So I'd like to ask you guys a question. So as far as I'm going to go back to where Pat said 2016, from the Hillary obstruction to Crossfire Herc to all the fake collusion, like every couple months, it's just FBI messing up. What is it going to take? I know it's the upper echelon of the managerial, but what is it going to take to change that? Like what needs to happen to make that like grasp on it, like break up and be more like less biased? Because that's all we're seeing with bias with Peter Strzok, with all these. It's like they're embedded in there. So
right.
What's it going to take?
They are embedded. I think at a minimum you have to clear house all of headquarters, definitely the 7th floor, probably all of headquarters. You have to clean it out and start from scratch. But a lot of the people, like Steve talked about earlier, who get attracted to the managerial positions in the FBI, they're that type of person who likes the DC life and the notoriety or whatever. There's this talk of the FBI getting a new headquarters building. They shouldn't get one. That part of their budget should be scrapped until the FBI is fixed. If they ever are allowed to have a new headquarters, it shouldn't be in DC, because it's attracting too many people who care too much about the politics. I mean, look what they did with the Russia collusion. Nobody is paying for it.
No accountability at all. The Durham report basically said Obama, Biden, the AG, FBI, CIA, everybody colluded to try to cheat the real cheating of an election. Right. And zero accountability. Nobody's going to see. I was telling Pat before he walked in there, to all the young people out there that they're in crime. You want to steal. You want to be corrupt. Don't do it. If you want to get away with it, become a Democrat, be a leftist. You could do all that shit and never go to prison.
You're right. So that's a coup. That's a bloodless coup. And I know people, that's extreme. Read the Durham report. Look at the facts. The FBI offered Christopher Steele $1 million as a CHS payment if he could corroborate that dossier. And he wasn't able to do it, and the FBI still went straight ahead and opened a full investigation on then a presidential candidate, and then kept it going on a sitting president.
Isn't that treason? Like, are they? That's ridiculous. The hell with that's the election that was really.
But then we get accused of treason.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are the bad guys.
Yeah,
that's
PBD. How much of what they're saying as far as like the 7th floor is reminiscent of the book, The Barbarians to Bureaucrats?
I mean, that's what it is, though.
That's what I'm asking.
The market is filled with bureaucrats and aristocrats. So you go back and you said something about 9 million, 10 years, 90 million. So why did Trump appoint him 2007, August? Exactly. So why? What point were you trying to make about Chris Wray?
So I think that who gives up that?
And by the way, just for the audience that's watching this, if you can go put Chris Wray, 9 million. He was with the law firm King and Spalding. Okay, he made $9.2 million working as an attorney for the law firm King and Spalding, and then he chose to become a FBI director. So go ahead.
Well, I think there's obviously esteem attached to that, and he would probably argue that it was a financial sacrifice on his part and for his family because he wanted to serve America. But what he won't tell you is he gets to live the life of a billionaire now, flying a private jet all over the place for the price of the lowest Southwest ticket that one of his staffers can find for him. He gets that ability. So he gets to have the esteem of being the FBI director. But if you just go to the simple dollars and cents, I think that sacrifice on his part represents conviction when it comes to seeing the full weaponization of the FBI come to fruition underneath his tutelage. It's something that, well, give me the ring of power and I'll make sure that it goes for good, for what I deem to be good. And
But he's a Republican.
he was appointed by a Republican president. He was recommended to Donald Trump by Chris Christie because he helped Chris Christie fix the Bridgegate case. He's a fixer. And in my conversations with folks who I work with now who work at the Department of Justice, he's not an intellectual titan. He's just got a really nice haircut. And will do.
You don't make $9.2 million just with a nice haircut. If that was the case, I got like 50 friends. I'm telling you, they should be getting paid way more than they're making right now because they have nicer haircuts.
I should be too.
Yeah, you definitely need to be. You're a billionaire look right there. But going back to it, like you're not going to be a dummy making 9.2. So I want to know about this Chris Wray guy because you're making 9.2. You drop it. You get your job by Trump, recommended by Christie. And now Christie's flipped, obviously. Yesterday I saw the funniest meme that said Christie should run
all the time.
But he should run all the time.
Not the president.
Hilarious. So going back to it, this guy's not a dummy.
No, I mean, he's obviously an educated guy.
Yeah.
But I think if you go back a few months, he's taken that trip to the World Economic Forum now.
Okay.
And he wasn't getting that with his $9 million
Who cares
job.
though? And what I mean, by the way, I'm not a World Economic Forum guy, not a fan of Klaus Schwab, can't stand ESG, DEI, CEI, Corporate Equity, Equality Index. I'm not a fan of HRC, Human Rights Committee. I'm not a fan of Open Society Foundation, so this is not an endorsement of that. But okay, if you are going to be the director of CIA, you're probably going to go to World Economic Forum. You're probably going to go to a lot of these weird meetings. So what? Why give up that $9.2 million and you get the job by Trump? Like, let me kind of put it this way. Whenever a CEO, Trump is a CEO, whenever a CEO is hiring a C-suite, a director of FBI is a C-suite. I think there's got to be a more thorough investigation into assigning that job to somebody rather than that you like that guy, put him in, right? So to me, if the other side also says, hey, man, so why did you give him the job? You had other options. You had other people to look at. So if he did, Trump's not a person that doesn't have experience doing this. He's hired tens of thousands of people over his career, not low-paying jobs, $1 million salary, $500,000 salary. Why does a Trump, who's a shrewd businessman, that's a street guy, he's sat with the toughest of the toughest, done the biggest of deals, why does he pick him? And if he did, he must have seen something in this guy, no?
Well, he had that interview, I believe, about a month ago where he was asked specifically that. And he said that it was recommended to him and he wanted somebody that was going to be acceptable to both Republicans and Democrats. And that was really what his thinking on it was. I think he took recommendations from people who he trusted on it. But I think then the question is it a Trump issue or is it a Christopher Wray issue? I think Christopher Wray took the posting because it allows him to have access to the seat of power and maybe financially bet himself later on. But it ultimately boils down to he is now in a position to impact our country that he wasn't going to have that opportunity at working as.
Listen, I mean, there are a few jobs that are powerful jobs. That's definitely one of them. So if somebody calls you and says, listen, we're thinking about offering you the director of CIA job, you have to consider that. That's not a lightweight job. That's a job that comes with a lot of different, director of FBI. It comes with a lot of different responsibilities, but also at the same time, you're in the thick of things. Like, you know what's going on. You're one of the 50 most powerful men in America that's making these types of decisions. So I get why he would entertain that. I think this is the clip you were talking about. If you want to play this clip about Chris Wray and Trump.
And we are all examples of that. I can't think of a more sobering way to end a hearing. I yield back.
Why he's looking for the
Corruption,
No, he's just
weaponization.
Rob was watching a movie on Netflix on the background, so it's just, we just interrupt. Rob, apologies from our behalf.
It's okay.
Please.
It's all right.
We messed the entire thing up with the movie he was watching.
About
Sorry.
things that they are doing that are wrong.
That's not it.
There it is again. That's
Well, hey, Pat, while he's looking for that, how
That's
would
Garrett doing his
Pat,
thing.
Pat, what would make you, as a business guy, and you're making $9 million a year for this, what would make you give up being almost $100 million man to do that?
Oh, you definitely would do it. You definitely
to be that, just the power?
The responsibility of a man is to do the following. If you're a true American, number one, make your money. Number two, protect your wife and your kids. Set aside money for her and them, where they're taken care of. Number three, take care of yourself financially. Number four, give back to the country that gave you this incredible life. Public service comes in many different ways. One is church, one is military, one is nonprofit, one is government. You pick and choose which one you want to do. So I totally understand why he would say yes to that. Life is not just about making the 9.2 every single year. This is a heavyweight job, and there's almost a duty when you get a call from the top, especially president, offering you a job, whether you like it or not. You have to really take it for consideration, because it's a listen. You get a call from the top saying, "Hey, you got orders. You're going to Camp Casey.
I'm going.
You got orders. You're going to Afghanistan.
I'm going."
You're a coward if you don't take it, right? There's an element of that. So there's some of it that's public service.
But do you think any of it was kind of nefarious, where he's like, okay, I'm going to get in and now got you?
I don't know the guy. All I know is, look, if Rob, if you can figure out if you got that clip, to go back to it. If it's still messing up, don't worry about it. But before you even play this clip, if you can do me a favor, go to Statista with the report I just sent you with the trust American people have in the FBI. This is just from 2019 to 2022, okay? Blue is Democrats to have the same amount of trust in FBI as they did in 2019 as they do today. Dark navy blue is down from 57 to 44. Independents are down from 48 to 41. That's down 7. And then Republicans are down 46 to 26, down 20. So Democrats obviously love what the FBI is doing, because they're targeting the guys that they hate the most. By the way, there's nothing about this that's a Fox News poll. This is Statista. There is nothing about this that's emotional. Now, if you go to the other statistic that I sent you with it since 1985, I don't know if you have that one as well.
That blue line, you know what that blue line means?
What?
That's everybody still wears a mask on that blue line. I just want you guys to know that. That blue line, everybody's still wearing a mask.
Yeah, I think it's a problem when it's 100% your political party over the country.
Yeah.
To me, I'm sitting here asking questions about Chris Wray. He's a Republican, Trump, and I'm like, what? You can't just say, oh, it's everybody on the other side's fault. No, there's some decisions and response. I texted to you, Rob. You have it. Go to your text. You don't need to look for it.
It won't load.
Oh, it won't. Okay, then don't worry about it. Then go to the video. I'll try to send you a different link with that. Let's see what Trump had to say about hiring Chris Wray.
You happy with Chris Wray?
But just so you understand, I put Chris Wray in because I wanted to have somebody in there that everybody, including the other side, really wanted. It may not have been the right move. Let's see. Time will tell, okay? But I wanted to have somebody in the FBI because I'm an honorable guy. I'm an honest guy. I may have made a mistake, but I put somebody in that the other side, everybody agreed to. You know who recommended him to me? Chris Christie. Okay, he recommended him. And that's okay. I don't mind that. I've taken Chris Christie's recommendations before. And other people wanted Christopher Wray. And people from the other side wanted Christopher Wray.
But now
and
Jim Jordan is investigating. You have.
Yeah, so I remember.
How recent was that
This
interview?
is not too long ago. No, this is like this has got to be like a couple months ago, right? What is
March
it?
of 2023.
There you go. Yeah, this is a couple months ago from saying that. Yeah, so for me, going back to it, saying, well, Chris Wray this, Chris Wray that, I got a follow-up question for you here that has to do with the public. You were kind of going through with the question is, we the people, right, with where we're at what point do you see, like, you know how the government is ran, you got the president, and then the governors get to decide how they handle COVID. We're going to shut it down in California and non-essential, essential. Florida's like, no. We're opening schools. We're opening this. Hey, here's what we're going to do in South Dakota. But here's what we're doing in Illinois. Michigan, shut it down. New York, this is what we're doing. But this is what we're doing in Tennessee. And this is what we're doing in Texas. Okay, so the states kind of get a chance to make their decisions for themselves. Is the FBI really going to let officers work cases rather than DC's HQ controlling it? I mean, is it time like for the FBI to roll up into the DHS, or is it time to kind of just, disband them and move on? What do you think they need to be doing? And will they do that? Will they allow, different markets to kind of do their jobs without saying, no, we're going to step over you and here's what we need to do?
I don't know that they'll allow it. The FBI has, ever since Hoover, really, they've grown into this entity that even within the DOJ, they basically are in charge of themselves. They always essentially have been, and they will hold on to that power as long and as much as they can. And I think part of the issue with Wray might be he was a DOJ guy before his lavish career as an attorney. That's another problem, I think, with the FBI and the DOJ is the FBI directors continue to come from DOJ. And so now you have like this, it's basically like this intercession where the head of the FBI was a DOJ guy. I think that's problematic because that limits the checks and balances potentially. But overall, the FBI doing the right thing and giving up some of that control, I don't see it happening. And I don't know if there's enough. Well, look at what's happening in Congress right now with this source reporting. The FBI just literally does whatever they want. So I don't know if there's an entity that could even make them break up and limit some of the power and control that they have and cede it over to DHS or somewhere else.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.